Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back, my friends. This is, of course, the MRC show that never ends. And tonight, Friday evening, this is where your entertainment lies, not on watching the big square box that has a bunch of 22 people kicking a leather ball of air round. None of that nonsense. We're here for MRC-X around the Principality of Monaco, under the lights, nonetheless. It is, of course, I am here gladly to run you through the action of this fantastic and iconic circuit that we have tonight. And with me is going to be a partner in crime this evening. It is the first time that we're together in the commentary box that I'm really pleased to say, and it's been a little while coming, and I'm really glad that he's joining me. He's shown himself to be a very adept and very knowledgeable commentator in his short time in the commentary team. But there can only be one man I'm talking about. It is Mr. IKEA himself. It's only Mr. Tobias Barnstop. Good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. I've got the heating on, so 0 degrees here in the beautiful, very chilly northeast of England, but heating's on, so we're looking forward to this one now.
Indeed.
And yeah, this is well, we've already seen 4 races this week, haven't we, in MRC, and it's been a week of, I'm going to use the term low drama, which is a strange one to hear for MRC, hasn't it? But it's been some very intriguing racing, hasn't it?
It really has. It's been less than I thought, if I say that.
Yeah, it has. Yeah, it's been very quiet. Drivers have behaved themselves on these tight and twisty tight and twisty street circuit that everybody knows. I was going to say everybody loves, but it's one of those as well that it's kind of a Monaco in the recent years. It's kind of a love-hate, hasn't it? Now with a lot of spectators. Drivers love it still, but spectators worldwide are hit and miss, aren't they? They love action, they love overtaking, and it's Monaco tight and twisty, not a lot of overtaking opportunities.
I do agree. We can see already Baby Hornet out of the session.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, on his outlap, nonetheless. I think. So yeah, that's really unfortunate. And Kenichiwa's had a collision and is going to have a 5-place penalty. But oh, look at that! Already Confetti got held up a little bit. Well, quite a lot, I'd have to say, in his first run there. And that's the thing. I think we're going to see that a lot in this 18-minute qualifying session. We've gone back to the usual MRC format of 18 short qualifying and a 50% race. We've tried a few different things this week, which I've quite enjoyed. I don't know about you, with the shorter race distance, but the full qualifying session. I don't know how you found it.
At first, I was thinking it was not the best choice, but when I actually raced here, I won the race, of course.
You did, yeah. You absolutely took Tier 3 by absolute storm, and you are this season. And yeah, that was a very, very dominant race from yourself.
Yeah, it really was. Both of us had really good race, of course. No, but I think, of course, the full qualifying with the short race was a very good decision from the admins of the league, and I enjoyed it very much.
Yeah, I think it did come under a bit of scrutiny from 1 or 2 individuals, but fortunately, I think those individuals just like to cause a bit of fuss and like to shout when things don't go exactly according to their agenda, shall we say. But otherwise, I think you're right. It was taken with really, really well. And it's nice to mix it up a bit, and we've tried this before in Monaco in seasons gone, and it works very, very well, and it's just good fun as well. We get the usual formats, and then to have that bit of difference was really, really nice. And yeah, I agree with you, and it was a good choice by the admins and the senior admin team to say, right, listen, we're going to stick with our guns, we're going to do what we've done, and we know it works. And yeah, I agree, it was a really, really good it was a good spectacle. It's just something different. It keeps the drivers on their toes, doesn't it? It makes them think about qualifying there, as Kenichiwa, I think, has just gone provisional pole on a 12.9 on the medium tyres.
He has. That's his banker. That's a very good banker. We'll see what he can do on the softs on his second or third lap. I don't know how many he will go out for, of course, but it's going to be interesting how fast he is going to be on the soft tire, of course.
Yeah, exactly that. I agree with you there, and that's the thing, because now we can obviously, of course, choose different balanced, softer, harder amount of tyres that we use for the qualifying and race. That I think that really does throw quite a mix of strategies. What are people going to do during qualifying? What are people going to do during the race? And how are they going to approach it? And I like that. It's just things that everything was all very same, wasn't it, before? Everyone had the same amount of soft tyres. Everyone had the same amount of mediums and hard tyres. Now you can really make a difference, and I like that. It's just adds a bit of air of how am I going to beat my competitors.
Indeed, I think there's a lot more strategy going into it now, and that's as you say, very, very, very interesting, very, very exciting to see that the game developers are including, of course.
Yeah, definitely that. So a few people on outlaps at the moment. Let's have a quick look at the YouTube chat, and is with us as he always is, and he's currently on a fast lap. As Martin's bailed his, done a 14.0 on his first lap. Let's have a look on. We're going to ride with Kid Dynamite as he starts his lap, but we'll come through a ride of the streets of Monaco under the lights very soon. Let's have a quick look. We have got Anton's there. Mark Hill says, well, I thought it was 0 degrees where I am. It's -3 where Mr. Single Track is at the moment. That's a little bit, well, fresh, shall we call it.
Yeah, it really is. It's still in the positives around my place, so I'm happy where I am, to be honest. And yeah, I would not be comfortable in those -3 degrees.
No, definitely not. Womax has said Rambo's livery is awesome. We will look to Rambo when he next comes out. We will go through, of course, the driver's choices of livery throughout this session. Monster, good evening, my friend. My teammate, of course, for Tier 2. Nice to have you watching us this evening. The words of Uni Emery, good evening. It is good evening to you. So let's have a look. Who is on an outlap? Who is going to be on a fast lap? Let's watch Dynamite come through the last corner with the DRS wide open. And what can he do for his banker lap? He does 11.6.
That is a hell of a banker lap for Kid Dynamite.
Yeah.
We'll look, of course, to extend his lead in MRC-X.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, he's having a good, strong season as well, isn't he? In Tier 1, he's not. He won the championship last season, and he's not willing to give up any of those titles, is he, as it stands?
Exactly. I think Kid Dynamite, he has had a very good season. I think Reese have had an exceptional season. 20 points ahead of Kid Dynamite at the moment in Tier 1.
Wow.
That we won't take anything away from Kid Dynamite, who now is about, can't count, but 12 points ahead of Xavier in MRC-X championship.
It is, yeah, and his closest contender is the man we're on board with now, Xavier. He bailed on his first attempt, but he's on a lap now, going through to the tunnel section. As I say, we will go through. I like that livery that he's got. I don't know if it's his girlfriend or his sister has made this one. Usually they are designers, and Connor seems to get himself in a little bit of trouble. But one of the reasons we are here this evening, and I am here in the box in a little bit of, well, I have to say warmth and relatively relaxed, I'd have to say I am this evening, compared to being out there with the drivers, is the fact that there was a little bit of a bet made. And one of those, who was that? That's Johnny Smooth. I think he held up Xavier and he's out of the session. A 12.3 from Xavier puts him in provisional second place. Probably got held up quite a lot around Raskas and the end of the lap, as Johnny Smith already had a wing missing, and then unfortunately he lost a wheel out the last corner. But because we made a bet with our own King Kong Anaconda, Connor Hardy, who was just like, no, I want to commentate, I don't want to race. And we said no. I put my foot down. I said, no, you may be ahead of me in stewarding, but you're not in commentary. I'm sorry, I'm pulling rank. You're racing Monaco, and he didn't like it, did he? But he's racing. He's there, and he's currently in 13th after his first run, which on a 14.8, I know he's got plenty in the bag, hasn't he?
Yeah, he really has. 14.8, he can definitely pull out more than that. We saw he had a decent qualifying in Tier 3, of course. So we'll see how he does in this short qualifying instead of the full qualifying we saw in Tier 3 this Wednesday.
Yeah, exactly that. Exactly that. I'll tell you who we're going to ride on board with. Let's have a look. I'm going to ride on board. Who's on an outlap at the moment? So I think one of the first round. No, he's at the Lowe's hairpin. So we've got a few people on fast laps. Let's have a quick look down at Mr. Calvin. He is coming into the Lowe's hairpin now, and he's gone for an all black under the lights. Oh, a little bit wide through the hairpin. Oh, a little bit wide again. Managed to just skim the wall, no damage. Misses the apex again. I think he may have bailed on this lap, has Calvin. But, Chris, like I tell you what, look at that in second place.
Very, very good lap from Chris Bailey. 11.7, very close to Kid Dynamite, of course. Kid Dynamite now on an out lap. Yeah,
he is. He's gone for his second run already. Already 6 minutes left of this session. I mean, it just flies over, doesn't it, around here? Well, every qualifying session seems to go so quickly.
It really does. It does say short qualifying, but 20 minutes, 18 minutes, or whatever, how many minutes it is quite a long time, especially around Monaco, where the lap is about 1:11, as we can see, 1:12, or even 1:13. The lap can still go quite fast.
It does. Yeah, you're right with that. But I think it's just, you come in, you think, I'll wait for the guys to do the first run, or wait for the track to rubber in, and then suddenly you find yourself 10 minutes gone of the session, and if you make a mistake on your first run, you're really, really under pressure for that one run to put a solid and very strong lap time in. I think that's the challenge, as we say. We like the challenge of the full qualifying session that we've been running this week. But then you're coming back to the usual format, which a lot of leagues do adopt. And there's still a lot of pressure, isn't there, that you don't necessarily think is there.
Indeed, we saw that in previous races, that people have waited with their out lap or with their flying lap, and we can see that they put them under a lot of pressure. Some coped under pressure, and some did not cope under pressure. Maybe had a moment, or even hit the wall, lost a wing, or whatever. Yeah, so it's mixed feelings about going out late, of course.
Yeah, exactly that. Oh, Ryan has had a moment out with Raskas and managed to get into the pits on his next one. He will have time to go out one more time, though. Just have a look at who's on an out lap and who's further out. So I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll jump on board with Kenichiwa Beach as he finishes warming his tyres before he comes into the last sector. And Mr. Barnstop, would you like to take us round a lap of the Principality of Monte Carlo on board with Mr. Kenichiwa Beach?
Happily. So, starting his lap now. DRS fully open, ERS on. Goes a bit wide now into Saint-Evo. Going full power as early as possible through Beau Rivage and Messenet. Turn 3 now. Messenet going left into Casino right. Into Maribor very soon. He has bailed on his lap, I think. I don't see ERS on, and I see a bit of a weird line through there. So he bailed on his lap. I don't know really why, but maybe it was too much down on his time.
Yeah, it could be. I think you're right. Let's have a look. Who else is on a potential lap? And to be fair, I think he was glitching quite a lot. We jumped on board a little bit there, and yeah, that felt a little bit strange. It was jumping all over the shop. I'm not going to go on board with Mr. Hardy because we know he loves a good curse occasionally, and I like his livery, actually. It's a simple livery, but a nice. I like the colour choice, the white, the black, the kind of the yellowy green. I like that quite a lot. That is a nice livery.
It is very nice. We do see Wumax going through the pool section out into Larascas and Anthony Nuge. Final corner, DRS open, ERS fully. Let's see what he comes up with. P12, 13.4.
Yeah, good luck. Good little bit of improvement there. We are seeing drivers improve quite a bit at this moment in time. Suzy hits the pits. Saviour is going up the hill on his lap. So if you want to jump on board, my friend, with Saviour, we'll pick up where we left off.
I can happily do that. He goes towards Maribor and the Grand Hotel hairpin, which he's come up to now. Down to first gear, of course. Up to third, gets the traction out of the corner. Up to fourth, needs to get the rotation. Through to Porsche. Very nice exit into the tunnel. Going into the Noval chicane. Brakes right after the 100-meter board.
Oh, he's invalidated.
His lap. He cuts the corners a bit too much there. A bit eager to get his lap done. He will save his ERS and go again. Otherwise, he won't be he won't be able to get a lap in, of course.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah, it's we're getting up close, and there's a few people battling on track. Chris Bailey was with another driver there. Not sure exactly who that was, coming through Casino Square there, or Casino. Well, it's more of it's not really a square, is it? But it's through the Casino section, trying to get on terms with Chris Dynamite. As drivers now will be starting their last attempts, as Connor has retired from the session. Where's that? That's through Casino as Connor's gone, I think. Possibly. Not sure where that might be. I think that's actually swimming pool section he's gone. As Connor.
It is. Through turn 16, that is, to the right and left-hander. Through the braking zone there, maybe lost the car on the curb. You can see Chris Bailey now coming through.
Chris has been held up quite a lot, though, hasn't he? Yeah, it is, isn't it? I agree with you there. But he was held up quite a bit. There's a lot of traffic. People starting their last laps. He gets a proper tank slapper on. Woof. Good reactions.
He won't improve. 5/10 off his time. And that is his qualifying done. 11.7. Provisional P2, that is.
Yeah, but we're going to look at Dynamite. What can Dynamite do as he's finishing his lap, coming through Anthony Nuge? Is he about to start a lap? I think he's actually starting a lap.
He is.
Alright, let's go on board with the current Tier 1 champion. He's got a car ahead to the notice.
Very, very close.
Wow.
Very, very close from that driver.
That's just...
He did really, really well to avoid that car on the track.
Yeah.
Who
that was
I think lost a bit of attention.
Yeah, that was full send from Dean. And yeah, that was... And then not really the best awareness from the other driver he passed there. Don't know who that was, but wow, that was heart in the mouth moment, not just for us, but I bet Dean was yeah, a bit nervous there.
That is a real code brown, I would say.
Oh, and he's lost his time.
That put him off. Still provisional P1.
It is. What can Dory do as he crosses the line? Can Dory improve? Oh, he does by 3/10, but keeps him fourth, though.
Still P4.
Calvin moves
goes
to
P6.
Next one on the lap, Ryan. Come on, but that is a nice livery room, Max. I do agree. I do like that. That is a very smart car under the lights.
Very beautiful contrast with Rambo's car as well, with the purple, black, and the green, of course.
Yeah, he does make good liveries, does Ryan. He always has done.
He really does, he really does.
Oh, he goes
very deep through Larascas. Going through Anthony Nuge. DRS open. Let's see if he can improve on his lap. 113.1, remember.
Oh, he doesn't.
5/10 off his time. That's P9 for Rambo, which means Kid Dynamite takes P1. Chris Bailey close behind. He will be very happy with that lap time. And Konnichiwa in Challenger tier, P3.
Yeah, and, well, people have different names. Dora, I call him Dora the Explorer. It's also Challenger tier in P4. And then we've got Mr. Dynamite's, one of his closest, well, yes, it is his closest challenger by a country mile, is Saviour there in 5th.
Correction, Doris is elite here. He's reserved here too.
Oh, is he? Oh, I do apologise. I'm sorry, Dory. I will take back everything I just said. I've actually only got the table for... I'm just trying to find the full MRC-X table. That's why, because it has been separated, and that's what's lost me a little bit.
It has.
Yeah, we'll come back to that.
Yeah, we can see Savior though in P5, which is very interesting for the MRC-X Championship in the elite tier, which I said before, Kid Dynamite 12 points ahead of Savior in the championship. Will we see an extension of that lead, or will we see a switch of positions if Kid Dynamite has a moment, or if Savior has a banger of a race?
Yeah, exactly that, but of course Kenichiwa does have that 5-place penalty from a collision early on with East 17. So that will promote Saviour up that that one important place. And well, let's hope we have a clean turn one. We had a few clean, actually, quite a few clean turn ones, a few clean races in MRC this week. So let's hope, and I'm pretty sure there will. MRC does tend to be quite a very clean, very respectful tier that we have, with all 4 tiers, of course. Racing at once, and has had all of his times deleted. That's a very strange one.
Okay.
Yeah. We saw it was strange that we've had here. Obviously, we were using the full qualifying mode in the tiers, and if somebody retired, it was strange that normally if someone retires in a particular session but have already made it through, that then they weren't qualifying when it was a strange one, wasn't it? When people retiring, people crash out. Some people lost their lap time, some people didn't.
Indeed, and we also saw in Q, if they crashed out in Q2 but still were like P14, they couldn't set a lap in Q2.
Yeah, exactly.
Now we can see the guys on their tire strategy. We see Kid Dynamite on mediums trying to run away in front, with Chris Bailey behind on the hard, going for the more durable tires in front. Doris going for the same strategy as Kid Dynamite, faster tire in the front, trying to maybe jump that position on Chris Bailey and jump away with Kid. We'll just have to wait and see, of course.
Yeah, this is a very interesting split of strategy. Only one driver on the soft, with Z17 down in 13th. That is interesting, isn't it? You can do medium soft round here, but you can also go hard very long and have a very quick soft tyre.
Indeed.
You can possibly take the hards. I'm trying to think. I mean, we did, Matty, and your tier was reserved for yourselves as well in tier 3, the 25% race rather than the 50%. And I think in tier 2 I had to pit at the end of lap 2 after my front wing got taken off, and slapped on the set of hard tyres, and managed, what was that then, 23 laps I think we did, could be wrong, and I managed to get them to the end. They weren't very nice towards the end, but there's a gap, a big gap actually, the top 2 miles ahead, and then Doris has really held the pack up quite a lot. That's definitely more than 10 car lengths, and then further down as well, I think that is catching up now. Yeah, he's caught up now, and a few little gaps appearing. Palang's fallen back a little bit, and that one with Doris was quite a long gap, I must say. But yeah, it's weird. You can take the hards quite a long distance in this race, and they don't feel too bad. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting, this one. Who else have we got in the chat? Mr. Taylor, Mr. Big Al Taylor is with us. Oh, my friend, good to see you. Good to have you on. Looking forward to seeing you again, buddy. Thanks for the support. And I hope you enjoy the racing. Mr. Simba, of course, is with us. Would he be anywhere else? He doesn't like the bunch of 22 guys, but well, kicking a bag of air around. But let's have a look. We've got 3 lights on board with Dynamite on the start line. 5 lights are on, and we are lights out, and we go racing. Let's have a look who's we've got to ride on board. Bailey has cut quickly across the cut off Dory. Dory's having a look on the inside. He stuck his nose in there. Is he going to try and make the move? He doesn't. Dynamite, what a clean run he had out there. Chris Bailey holds on to 2. Doris Lee, Xavier and Calvin side by side up the hill already. Calvin's managed to get the inside and get past the drive on Xavier. Single track up 1. Single track's had a moment. Single track's gone round. Single track's fallen to the back of the field. Confetti though, look at that. Up 5? That can't be right. Sure, he's on the hard tyres. Confetti's on 5 places.
Confetti jumped 5 places,
Wow.
places from the start. We also saw Ant had a really bad start on the hard tires, 6 places down, and single track, of course, when he tried to turn around on these narrow streets, he took his front wing off, which looks like he's gonna have to pit this this lap, of course.
Yeah, on the medium, so he could go hard to soft now, I think, from where he is. Us, we've just seen a driver there. I think that might have been Palang taking the escape route there, but Baby Hornet was also up 5 places as he just decides to have a meeting with one of the walls, as you do. Lost an end plate as well. Let's hope that doesn't hamper his progression. But let's go back to the front as Dynamite. 2.7 seconds his lead already on the opening lap from Bailey, who's got Calvin now. What a start from Calvin. Up into third. Good friends, both of these two. Of course, lead commentator, one of the stewards and admin teams, Mr. Chris Bailey, and one of our newest additions to the stewarding team is Calvin and his zoo. But I'm sure they'll be talking to each other in a party, of course. Well, and actually very similar liveries, I'm sure. Yeah, you know that meme, the Spider-Man meme, where they start looking at each other? That's what I'm seeing right now.
Yeah, I would agree. They're very similar, very similar. Different colors, of course, black and red, black and purple. Fun fact, that was actually the inspiration to Calvin's livery today. If I were to race, I would have gone for the exact same one as he would, except different sponsor, of course.
So a little bit of a tribute to you there, my friend.
Exactly, exactly. And I have to do this every time I commentate as a tribute to Calvin. I need to sue every single time. So there we go, Calvin. There we go, lap 3.
And got run into, unfortunately, into Sandovo. So someone did have their heroics into Sandovo. Having a flick through. Xavier's under pressure. He's not had the best opening lap. He got jumped by Calvin. And he's now got Confetti, who is absolutely on a charge already. Whatever he's got under that fiery car as Mr. Confetti, it is working very, very nicely. I do like the colour switch. I think I've created one a little bit like that. Haven't used it, but I do like that. It is quite a nice livery, that.
Yeah, I agree. If we go back to Kid Dynamite and the gap to Chris Bailey, we can see how strong the softer tire is opposed to the hard tires, of course. We can see in the opening laps the medium tires are of course faster. We can see that based on the gap to P2, and Kid Dynamite will have to keep this gap going, of course. If he keeps extending it, he can possibly win this race. No thought about it.
Yeah, very good point actually. Yeah, of course the tyre difference in these opening stages does take about a good 3-4 laps before the hard tyres start coming into their own. Calvin's made a mistake. He's now got Doris for company. Xavier and Konnichiwa having a little battle. Look at this, there's 3 away. We've got Confetti there, Konnichiwa and Soze looking interested. So it's actually Konnichiwa has managed to get past. Oh, that's a bit hit me through there, but yeah, he's managed to get past Confetti. So already I kind of have to think we've had a little bit more action and a little bit more overtaking than we've seen in, well, let's just say a couple of other tiers this week.
Yeah, I would agree with that. We can see Johnny Smooth now in the pit lane as well. But if we look away from that, we can see a lot of different position changes, of course. There's only Kid Dynamite, Chris Bailey, Palang and Johnny Smooth on their original places, and that's very interesting to see. Very highlightful race this far.
Exactly that, yeah. I mean, it's one of those that we've got here. Look at this, E17 and Wumax in the outer reaches of the top 10. Similar liveries, but look at this. You've got Wumax all over the back of E17. It's just finding a way through. If you get the drive off this last corner here, the DRS is pretty much, well, null, isn't it? It's not long enough, it's not powerful enough to even attempt to get past. So you've got to make it work somewhere else. There's now single track, the second driver with a penalty. He's on the back of Anton, who's on the back of Palang, who's a second back from Connor, who's on the back of Johnny Smooth, has retired from the session. Where is that? That's down here. Oh, there it is. Look at this. There it is. Oh dear, that's a big hit. Oh no, that's not it. Sorry, no. Sorry, that's Confetti. Confetti is the one. He was battling with Konnichiwa and Xavier, and he's the one that went straight on. No damage to the wing though.
Very, very lucky, while he's unlucky, if I say so myself.
Exactly that, and then we've got quite a large gap down to Mr. Rambo. Just man his own thing. He's, I think, pitted, actually. Yes, he is on the soft compound tyres, so got caught up with something in the opening lap. He's got the baby of the Hornets for company, who's also got the corner of the Hardys as well for company. They're pulling away slightly from Palang, who's got Anton and, of course, Mr. Single Track for company. But they've got, there's nearly half a lap. You look at Dynamite coming through turn 3 and 4 at the moment, and their guys coming just out of the tunnel. But still a long way to go. Only 6 laps in. And they've gapped now 4.4 seconds. So you're right about the tyres there, Toby, that really trying to make them pay, as Doris has actually fallen off the back of Calvin. Xavier's fallen away from Doris as well. We've still got Konnichiwa for company. Oh, I think Ryan's had a moment. Ryan's had a moment, and Rumax has got past E17. So there's a few movers that we've just, typically the people that we don't follow at that moment in time. Ryan has had a big one. What's happened with Palang's got into the pits? What's happened with Ryan? He's lost his wing. As Ryan has decided to stay out though.
Very interesting choice from a red car. Ryan, of course.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting. Now lost his wheel into Sandevo. Very, very unlucky from the British man, the Stoke fan himself, Red Car Rambo.
The adopted
very
Smoggy, the adopted Teessider. Yeah, it is. I think you'd have to say around a track like this, the one to pit, to go. Calvin's pitted as well already, and Sose.
As Kaiser Sose have as well. Very, very interesting.
It makes you wonder about they were on the hard tyre. Calvin was on the hard tyres. Was he having a? We missed to see if he was getting a wing. I think you saw Soze getting a wing, and it is so easy to do. Around here, you just clip a wall a little bit too much, get an apex wrong, get a braking zone tiny touch wrong, and it's just completely throws you. And there's no runoff area in any corner whatsoever, apart from down into Mirabo. That's the only real, the first part of Mirabo, I should say, turn 5, but that's the, and Sandevo, the only kind of runoff areas you've got nothing else.
Yeah, very true, very true. You have very tight corners, very tight chicanes in the Novel chicane and the pool section as well, turn 15, 16 there. You really have to slow the car down as fast as you possibly can, while not compromising your lap time. So it's very interesting how people are compromising with the fact that they need fast lap times, but they also need to conserve the tires, as they have to conserve the wings as well.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah, you just want to keep that. It's all about, we talk about it again. I think Xavier just hit the wall on the exit of Sandevo, and we've got Konnichiwa trying to have a look. It's very difficult to pass there. I know that from experience. Do not try to stick your nose in there. The track, it's straight up. You take the straight line through, but it's a right and a left, and opens, closes. Barriers suddenly come at you from absolutely nowhere, so it's not the best one. So Konnichiwa having to sit behind the Xavier. The German man, as Confetti, has left the session. I think he's not retired, so that could be a connection issue. Hopefully we'll get back in very soon. Also, as we flick through the field, I'm looking at liveries, as of course we do have a driver of the day and a livery of the day that we decide between us. There are 2 for me. Well, there was 3, really.
Okay.
The top 2 for me is Xavier and Single Track at the moment. I absolutely love both of those liveries. Martin's is designed on, he said it was the, I'm going to say it was the BAR. It was the half and half car, the 777 one, and then it had like the blue down split down the middle with the white.
Okay.
It lasted about 1 race, I think. in the 2000s, and then they split everything up. That's what it's based on, which is really nicely done. And of course, Saviour's just we're on board with it now, and it just looks stunning. Plus, I did like Ryan's.
I really like Ryan's. I like Calvin's, of course, because it's yeah.
Well, to be fair, I quite like on Konnichiwa's actually the black and the kind of the golden bits. I do like it.
I did watch it as well. It matches with the medium tires as well, and this.
It does.
And his helmet as well. He matched everything with his gloves also. So it's a very nice livery. Very, very beautiful under the lights here in Monaco. I do have to say, it's either Calvin or Red Car Rambo for me.
Okay, yeah, okay. Let's go. Oh, as Calvin does get a bit of a slide there. He does, yeah. I mean, I'm a McLaren fan. We know I race in the McLaren team. I love their livery. But Doris, I know you wanted to use it because they're using their futuristic livery that's just come made available to the game. But you know, come on, dude. I am glad. I'm not going to completely rubbish him because I'm glad someone has used it because it is such a beautiful livery. But yeah, we can't ever vote for that. Soze has gone very blue. Dabba dee dabba die.
Very, very true. We see Womack's changing wings now and switching onto the hard tires lap 10. Will he be able to go 29 laps?
Well, possibly. They'll go about 20-ish in a 25% race, so another 9 laps in a 50. They could go that well. That far.
Very, very true. We can see also if...
Who was that in the pits? I think I just saw somebody else getting a wing change in the pits. That was Doris. He's getting a wing change as well. Let's have a look at Anton's. He's gone very red and white this evening. That's you could almost say was it Marlborough-esque, but I'm not really sure.
It looks a bit like it, not too much, but it has definitely elements of Marlboro livery in there.
Perkins said it looks like a white Red Bull, get rid of it. I'm not sure which one he's talking about here, but I'm guessing it's this one, so we'll move on. Going back to single tracks, I am a fan of that. I do like the yellow and the purples and the blue. I am a fan of that, I'm not going to lie. That is a very nice looking livery. Let's go down to Confetti. The man on fire has unfortunately not managed to get back in at this moment in time. He has got a ghosted car. Hopefully he'll get back in. Mr. King Kong Anaconda, let's have a look. He's got the 3 colours, the white, and the black, and the gold. I quite like that. He's not one for liveries usually. Well, normally he's sitting in my speed, to be honest. So I don't mind it. It's fair. That's fair. I do like Simon's. I like the Baby Hornets. That is quite a smart livery. It's not as bright as a lot of them that we see, but I do like it.
I do like the mix of black and pink. I was gonna say very nice with the
pinky
white,
purple, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, very nice with the white details as well.
Yeah,
I do enjoy that.
Yeah, I agree with that one. And then we'll go down to the man currently in 15th, Mr. Palang. He's got. Okay, I like the blue. He's got a little bit of black. That's the red rear wing. I don't mind that.
It is a very interesting color choice, in my opinion. Go with the pink purple with the bit of dark red, I would say. Details with the red wing, of course. Very interesting choice.
Yeah, definitely that. So let's go back to the front now. We've gone to, obviously we've seen Kid Dynamite, the black and the gold. Bailey with the black and the red. Konnichiwa a bit further back, similar livery as well, which we have gone through. Now I tell you what, the gap has now opened up. We're supposed to better talk about the race, haven't we? And what's going on? Bailey is now lapped, unfortunately. Confetti, I think, who was ghosted. So Dynamite there, 6.2 seconds his lead now. And we've got Konnichiwa 10 seconds back, who has now managed to clear Saviour, who has got 5.7 further back. The gap's opening up all through the field. Single Track has now decided he has had enough on those soft tyres. So, yes, of course, he pitted lap 1. He's adding another wing change as well to add to his woes this evening. A long battle ahead. So the closest battle I think we have on track is this one, which is...
the train behind Antoine.
It is. We've got Anton and Dora the Explorer. So what
we say that, but Womax and B17 just switched places. I think
again,
B17
they've been at it since the start. Yeah, E17 doesn't have a front wing, so I don't know if there's a moment there.
Very, very true.
I think he's already pitted. Let's have a quick look at the pit stops. There we are. So everyone. So Doris, Confetti, Connor, Baby Hornet, and Single Track have all had 2 stops at this present in time. Plang has had 4 stops. Only the top 3 still yet to pit, and Konichiwa's dropped that gap by about half a second to Mr. Bailey. So this could get interesting later on, see how that one goes. But we'll go back to this, the closest battle as we mentioned, Anton Debeck and Dora the Explorer. Quite in close quarters. Let's get rid of that as Dora the Explorer spoils our little bit of fun and dives into the pit lane. So we'll go back to Confetti Craig with Baby Hornet, who's probably just going to drive through the ghosted Confetti and chase down the Hardy of the Connors to resume their battle royale, as it were.
Indeed, we're gonna see, I think on this lap we're gonna see Baby Hornet take that Confetti Creek ghosted car, as we see into Sandovo going through the ghosted car of Confetti Creek.
Yeah, it's one of those that the ghost car, he needed to clear that as soon as he possibly could. It's just off-putting for all drivers, and we've seen many mistakes made different times, haven't we, from drivers just because of the ghost car. It really does. It's surprising how much it does obscure your vision.
Yeah, it does really obscure your vision. We can see that Doris is having tiny problems with the ghosted car, of course, going through the Maribel Bass and Portier. Yeah, it's not the nicest thing in the world for ghosted cars to be in your way, as you have to see the apex, you have to see the exit, you have to always be concentrated, and that throws you a little bit with the ghosted cars.
It is, yeah, and we've seen Connor was coming up on E17, but now has lost his front wing, so now he's trying to battle and hold back as now he gets a 3-second penalty for his woes. So we've got now a train of cars behind Connor, who's going to have to dive into the pits. That's ruined his strategy of possibly sticking on the end with the hard tyres. So allow Baby Hornet, Single Track and Confetti to go through and on their way. As Single Track looks like he's ghosted as well, and strangely enough, that's a very strange one. So yeah, he has. He's definitely ghosted.
Yeah, he really has. We have seen this before this week. I don't remember who it was. It may have been someone in Tier 3 actually, where they was racing, they were in the race, but they were, of course, as I said, ghosted. Very interesting.
Yeah, I wonder it's because we've got the race leader, Mr. Dynamite, in between them and coming through, and because of the blue flag shot, I wonder if that's what's causing it.
That can 100% be that way. I think the blue flags can cause it. I do also think maybe if they have too low of ride height, they may bump into the ground or the yellow sausage curbs too much.
Yeah.
Most probably your assumption, but it can always be the ride height as well, of course.
It could be, yeah, but now finally Dynamite does have the DRS and makes his way through Baby Hornet, who's now got to have a long battle. Both very nice liveries that we've mentioned earlier, but now the battle of the purples, who's going to... Yes, that was it, definitely. I think you're right. It was because the leaders now, they both come solid cars again. Well,
that is Konichiwa,
Martin has.
to be fair.
Was it Konichiwa?
It is Konichiwa. I was thinking... I was watching Kid Dynamite now going through the tunnel. Konichiwa always have...
Oh, it was. Yeah.
Always have the same... I would say the same kind of livery. Very close colors, of course.
Yeah, it was. No, you were dead right. I was completely wrong there. Good call, good spot. I like that. Yeah, so now he's got Single Track for company. So let's see, single track is the RS light flashing away. And one thing I noticed when we were qualifying, oh, there's a bit of a, is it coming together? I don't know. Oh, this is a strange one. Because of the ghosting, we don't know. And what has happened to Baby Hornet? He's gone round.
We did see contact between single track and Baby Hornet, even though both of them were in ghosted shape. Very interesting to see. I'm sure we will see a decision be made from the stewards after this race.
Yeah, potentially. Yeah, that was a very, very strange one from what we were seeing. I can't comment because, well, who are we to comment?
Exactly.
But yeah, it was a very strange one. But I'll tell you that now the closest battle is Sose with Saviour. And this is going to be absolutely key for Saviour to get through, try to potentially, there's a 14-second gap to Calvin up ahead. Don't forget, of course, top couple of drivers still yet to pit as well in this race.
Yeah, there is people that haven't pitted yet. As for those people, it is Konnichiwa Beach, Chris Bailey, Kid Dynamite. So we'll see when they come in. It's only the top 3 right now that hasn't pitted. We can see Calvin though on the mediums. Will he be able to go to the end? I don't know. I don't believe so. So the top 3 are looking very, very good at the moment.
Yep, 12 laps left to go of this one, folks. So it's one of those that I think if you stop on a set of mediums now, they will happily take it to the end. But we've got the Bailey. Let's have a quick look at those tyres because I think Dynamite was starting on the mediums, didn't he? So,
he did.
So yeah, that's going to be interesting. And so is Konnichiwa. You have to say the drivers to pit again would be, well, of course, we've got the top couple of guys to pit. I would say, would Calvin take those mediums another 12 laps? They'll be hard pushed, but potential to do that. We've seen Konnichiwa Dynamite with heavy fuel take them 17, so there's no reason Calvin couldn't take them to the end.
Calvin is very, very good on tyres as well. I know him personally, so I think he will definitely be able to take those mediums to the end.
Yeah, I think he will. I think you're right with that one. Anton, 15 laps currently, potentially might struggle, may have to go to the soft tyres towards the end. Okay, so it's 11 laps now on the hards. They should go to the end, you would have to think, from that one. Probably all the other drivers, unless they have some damage. Doris is on the soft C, will definitely have to pit. Unless he does just... Well, you never know. But it's... Yeah, one of those, I think, that... It's going to be interesting to see what happens with the pits. Are people going to be able to take the tyres and just eke them out that little bit longer and say, okay, I have a gap here. There is a pit stop, but I'll fall behind and overtaking is difficult. Am I just going to lose that gap over time just to try to hold position? It's possible. And we've seen that in reality in 20... Oh, this is going to kill me. If someone knows on stream, if you know... With Lewis kept behind Max on the wrong tyres, who had absolutely zero grip left around here for about 50 laps. He kept him behind. I'm going to say 2019 or 2020. I can't really remember.
Not completely sure.
No,
we do know, as you said, that it is very, very hard to overtake cleanly here. We do see that even though you're on the slower tire, they are more worn out than the softer tire behind you. We can see that right car positioning is very, very crucial to keep position on this track. And because it's so hard to overtake, you will keep
Connor
position.
Had a moment into Sandoval. We just cut to him. I didn't say a word because, well, I don't want to curse him, but he went straight on to Sandoval. He's now lost another wing, and that's allowed the baby wasp, the buzzing bee, a baby hornet to go through, and he's back up into 12th. There are a lot of big gaps. There's only a couple of small gaps. Saviour and Sose was the main one. There we go. Our leader now has decided to pit. It had to be 19. Monaco didn't run due to COVID in 2020, so good call. Could be 2019. Yep, good call, Mr. Simba. Thank you for that.
Very good call. We can see Konnichiwa now up to P2 after Kid Dynamite's.
Hang on. Yeah, he started on the medium. He's gone to the hard tyres to do those 19 laps left that he's got to do to get to the end. So good choice, and I think that's going to be him. Now to the end, is going to get another 3-second time penalty to add to his woes this evening. This is why he wanted to commentate. He's going to hate us. I know he's going to hate. He's going to hate me for it. You know, I made him do it, but
I will just say one thing to him. Unlucky.
It is. Well, it is. Well, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those unlucky, but at the same point, he's kind of had an unlucky race, and I think he did as well in.
He did in Tier 3. He did not finish. He will hate me for saying that, but yeah.
But this shows the dominance currently of Dynamite as Doris is retired in Sandoval. I think we have to say standard, but it's strange now with the games and obviously all the updates that we have that nothing seems to bring out a safety car, no matter how many people retire around here. As Kenichiwa now has pitted as well from what was third, gone back to third, of course. But Dynamite, that gap is still only 8 seconds behind now, Bailey, and he's on the fresh tyres, of course. Bailey still to pit. That shows a little bit of his dominance, you'd have to say, this race.
He really does. We can see how fast he really is. Even though he's on the hard tires, he was catching Konichiwa on these mediums, of course. We can see Konichiwa going on the back of Calvin now. Calvin on these mediums. He can go to the end, of course. We have seen him before saving the tires, as he can always do, of course. Will we see? We have to see a Chris Bailey pit stop. So Kid Dynamite right now is in provisional P1.
Yep, he's pole position, led every lap from the start. I'm now thinking, depends how Chris's tyres feel. Would he try to extend and go for the soft tyres? It is doable.
He can definitely do that. The thing is, he is losing so many chunks of time. Tuki Dynamite behind. He only has 1 lap old hards. Well, Chris, of course, has his 21 lap old hards. So it's gonna be interesting if he chooses that strategy. He will lose time, and may not even. If Calvin now catches up, of course, on these mediums, he can even lose track position to Calvin.
Yeah, exactly that as well. You're dead right there. But he's got Konichiwa for company, so Konichiwa he's on fresh hard tires as well. He's one that could really play a part in this and see it and spoil Chris's day, couldn't he, for that second spot on the podium? But side by side in Casino, because I think Calvin had a bit of understeer. Kenichiwa tried a different line, tried to do a switcheroo and go on the outside of Casino. Nothing to do, and now it's a very much single file through the hotel section.
Really, it's very interesting to see the both of them now going through the tunnel. Will Konichiwa make a move into the Novel chicane? He's too far back to make a move, in my opinion. So we'll just take the normal racing line. Maybe wait another lap or two till Calvin's tires. I'm sorry. Starts to drop off even more that they already are doing. We can see him braking very early and very hard for the different chicanes, the different tires. Now goes into the wall.
Yeah, and he's lost the end plate as well.
Wing.
Yeah,
so that's into the pits now.
No, he's keeping on going, but you can see he's lost about 2 seconds. The gap was at the start of this lap was about 17.8 seconds, and now over 20 seconds he's lost. 2 seconds. Over 20 now to Chris. So are we seeing a little bit? He was trying to go side by side of the hill, does back out of it. As Calvin, his ERS light is flashing away. He's working hard. You can see the understeer in that black car he's struggling with the fronts now. The tyres are pretty much dead. What tyres has he got left though? What tyres will he be able to go on to next? That is the next question.
I do think he is going to wait for the softs. I don't think... Maybe he goes in this lap for a new pair of mediums. Of course he will lose time because of the pit. He almost have to do that to get the amount of oversteer and the amount of understeer he really needs. You can see into that Novel chicane how much of understeer is on that car, and he's still losing time to Chris Bailey, who can now pit and come out in clean air behind Kid Dynamite and take that P2. Konichiwa Beach now had a spin before the Piscine chicane. He had a spin just before the pool section, went into the wall, and lost his wheel. Unfortunately, DNF'd. He had a really, really good race and qualifying this far. Very unlucky for the South African driver, of course.
Yep, sorry about that. I think I had an issue with the microphone there. We're all back. We're here. Yeah, you're right. You're definitely right there. So I'll tell you what, Saviour's now pitted as well. He's had a second. Anton speeding in the pit lane. Let's have a look at the stops again. So Saviour and Calvin, 2 pit stops apiece there as Calvin comes out. Just behind Saviour. The gap was took a little while to update itself. Now this is going to be interesting now. Saviour on mediums, Calvin on medium tyres. This is actually a straight battle now, but Saviour jumped Calvin? I think he has, hasn't he?
He did. He was behind Calvin. I think it was because of the wing change.
And now Bailey does pit, but Dynamite, of course, straight through before Bailey's even stationary. Medium tyres for the blowhole, the rumpole blowhole of the Bailey. There's a virtual safety car here? Oh, there was. Did I miss something?
Very interesting.
Yeah, because that was...
Speeding under VSC.
I didn't even see there was one.
VSC.
But it's now gone.
I had no idea there was a VSC. We saw a lot of people pit, of course, but I totally missed that there was a VSC. If there was one, we saw people on push laps, which was very, very weird in my opinion. that was and I think that was the quickest VSC. Well, not in MRC history, but just in history, I think. Indeed, it really was. I think it was a couple of seconds, if that. It was maybe a millisecond, just when he sped. There was typical. A VSC. Very, very weird penalty. That's very unlucky. That's horrible on Anton. The only driver to get caught with it as well. I don't know which part of the track it was. Maybe coming out through the tunnel section through Portier, and that's just really caught him off guard. It's a full throttle, of course, and then that's a very strange one. That's horrible for him, and he'll come out behind E17, but way ahead of single track, so he will lose that place. And the gap's open up. This is the closest one on track now. Chris Bailey, 26 seconds behind Dynamite. Womack's 9.6 further behind. Saviour another 10 seconds further back, but he's got Calvin 1.3 behind him. They were a little bit closer early on. Calvin dropped off a little bit, so say 9.6 then. About 10-second gap to Anton. That will change to an E17 when Anton has to take that drive through, of course. Single track in 9th. Confetti in 10th, and the babyest of the Hornetists in 11th, and the DNFs so far. Still 13 laps to go of this race, and we've got Konnichiwa, Connor, Doris, Palang, Redcar, and Johnny Bravo all retired from this session. So that is 6 retirees. I think that's actually the most we've had. That is very, very large number. Half a dozen of retirements in one race. Of course, we all started with 17 people. Now 11 people racing, which means that it's a high amount of points for everyone who finishes the race, of course.
Of course, with having the elite and the challenger tier, of course, so both scoring full points. So you're right with that one. That is one of those that they're right. They're going to score a lot of points actually.
Indeed, it's going to be. It's one of those situations. The ones who stayed out the wall are very lucky, but also very, very skilled to have kept it out the wall, not taken any damage, and so on and so on. We can also see that Kid Dynamite still has 92% DRS, while Chris Bailey, who wants to catch up, of course, only has 30%, who will have to push every single lap to get that gap as small as possible, even though he has that 6-second penalty. He wants to go away from the Womax in P3, of course.
Yeah, of course, it only takes one mistake and you can come up with another 3 or a 5-second penalty, of course. So wants to make sure if anything does happen that he has got that buffer from Womax. You're definitely right there, 100%. This is pretty much the only battle on track with Calvin. It was looking very racy with Saviour at the moment. Let's have a quick look at, you mentioned the ERSs, so 41% for Saviour. We just saw Calvin, is using all of his. He has got absolutely only 3% and just kisses the wall again. As he's still got his end plate, he does this time round. Got away with it. But Calvin really pushing on, really trying to harrow Saviour into a mistake. And come on, we know better than that. This man doesn't really make any mistakes. But as we're on board, you mentioned the penalties. Only a couple of drivers now with those penalties. Anton's got 5 seconds of penalties now. He's served his drive-through penalty. Yes, I think he has. Actually serving the fastest lap as well. 6 seconds for Mr. Bailey. 6 seconds for the single of the trackers. And the Angry Wasp has now got 6 seconds as well. So a lot of these drivers doing well, actually, to be honest. There's only one at probably 2, maybe 3 corners that you can actually gain penalties from.
Indeed, I was thinking 3 as well. I was thinking turn 1, of course, Santivo.
Yeah.
If you cut that corner too much, you of course get a warning. The Noval chicane, if you cut that too much. And the pool section, I was thinking as well, the chicane. There as well, the fast sweeping one, or even the ladder one.
Actually, so there is quite a few, isn't there? There's actually a few that you can do, for them, isn't there? So,
indeed. We now see Calvin with a 3-second penalty. He will now have to catch up even more to Saviour if he wants to gain that position on him. At the same time, he needs to run away from Jose even more. That he's already doing. Going to be very interesting to see. Of course, everyone is on the same amount of lap mediums almost, so it's going to be interesting to see at the end of the lap how end of the race, how close this actually will be. Very interesting.
And it's going to be interesting to see if Womax is going to try and keep his tyres going until the end. 19 laps currently with 9 laps left. See if they fall over. He's got 6 seconds, 6.5, 6.6 to Saviour, and just see if that's is that going to continue, or is Womax going to have to succumb to that and possibly lose 2, maybe 3 places to Jose is trying to close that gap, knowing that Calvin's got 6 seconds worth of the penalty. He needs to close that gap by about 4 seconds, as Calvin has fallen off the back of Saviour now as well.
Yeah, I do think, of course, that the mediums are the much faster tire. He just had a moment, so he just lost a bit of time. But he is gaining so much time on Womax in P3. We are going to see a very close battle from them in 9 laps time, I think. But I think Womax will stay out, defend for his life to get that P3 position.
Yeah, I think you're right. Connor's now left the session. That's means the host has migrated to somebody. Hopefully won't have any internet issues with that. Shouldn't do at this stage of the race. You're right, everyone's very similar. E17's just pitted, so he's on a set of mediums. He will go to the end. Hornet 8 laps already on his medium tire, his soft tyres, I should say. So he may have to pit again, as he certainly does. I don't think that's happy coincidence or commentator's curse. I'm not sure actually of that one. We're currently running in 11th. He had a 12-second gap to Confetti. Maybe just thought, you know what, they're not going to go, so have another set of soft tyres and just do what he's got to do. That's all he has to do. He's going to score good points, as you mentioned again, Toby. So there is that they're going to gain throughout at the end of this race. Of course, all results are provisional until stewards have made their inquiries, but you'd have to say, and I hate to jinx it already, but gaps other than this Saviour is really closing down Womax now. 4.8. Calvin has pitted. He couldn't cope with those tyres, couldn't take him to the end, so maybe a set of soft tyres and he will push towards the end now. But Saviour, you said he was going to come down to 6 and a bit, is now 5 seconds. That is going to be an intriguing battle, I think, as we get towards the end.
As Calvin picks up another 3-second penalty, which means 6 seconds. And Antoine is closing in on him on those mediums. Of course, he will run away, and Antoine also has a 5-second penalty, so he won't have to worry from behind. The thing he has to worry about is the place in front. He will have to catch that man and run away 6 seconds. If he wants to do that, that is completely fine, of course. Otherwise, he will stay in P6 and still get good points for the championship.
Exactly that, yeah, very, very true. Yeah, it's this is the thing with this race. We've seen some good actual little battles and some good tactical battles at the early stage of this race. Then when it does calm down, with the closest gap we have is this Saviour, which is now 4.2 seconds. It is the closest gap on the field, and it's just I think for people watching, which is why we only have 9 of you, rather than the usual 20, 30 live viewers plus the 70, 80, 90 that we get following that. It's one of those that is difficult to possibly watch too much. Because nothing really happens. Let's just put it out there. I'll be blunt. I'll be blunt about it. Nothing can happen. We've seen a few drivers occasionally kiss a wall and lose an end plate or lose a wing, and other than that, we've seen a couple of good little moves. But it has been one of those where Monaco does turn into a procession, and then those in clear air just do seem to get their head down, set the lap times again and again, and then that's what creates the gaps and as other people are defending through. And it also, however people use their ERS throughout the laps, as you mentioned. Calvin's retired!
Calvin has retired, going into the Novel chicane.
Oh, he has. There he is, as I think. Oh,
very close.
Oh, I feel for Anton there. That was brutal for Anton. He absolutely, well, new pants please for Anton. He did not enjoy that one. He just had to stop pretty much. Didn't know if the car was ghosted or not. So Calvin, oh, I hope we haven't jinxed him. But
that is very, very close calls on this track, because the car isn't ghosted until you go through it, so you'll just have to take the chance if you want to gain time. If you don't want to take the risk, of course, you can slow down as Anthony did, and just keep going after that, of course. Safety first, I would always say, as I also saw in Tier 3, of course. So very, very interesting. Unlucky for Calvin. Now it's only 10 drivers still remaining. That is 7 people, unfortunately, that has not been able to finish the race.
Yeah, exactly. I had it, funny enough, in Tier 2. There was an incident, funny enough, same chicane, and I took avoiding action. It gave me a 5-second penalty, which I did appeal to the stewards, and they were very kind and gracious to remove that penalty, because it's the only way I got it was because of avoiding, well, 2 cars having an incident into the first part of that chicane, and it's the only way that you could ever avoid it. Otherwise, it was going to be a 3-car pile-up and 3 DNFs and a whole load of mess, to be honest.
Exactly. I think you did definitely the right decision. I watched the race. It was definitely the right decision. It's very hard to see what's going on while you're in the race as well. You're so concentrated on the track, not be able to, of course, touch the walls and stuff like that. So it's very hard to keep your concentration when stuff like that happens, because you need to change your mindset completely and then change back to your original mindset in this track. As we see Saviour just touching the wall.
Yeah, he's pitted again, has Saviour, so he's now got Anton for company. While Saviour's going to take a little bit of time with his ghosted car on the soft tyres to get back up to speed. I mean, those soft tyres will come in very, very quickly. I'm looking at who's the driver that has just passed him. And it is. Wow. This shows there's no other word for it, I'm going to have to say it. The dominance of Mr. Dynamite, the middle-aged firecracker, as we call him now. Never mind, he's not a kid anymore, and yeah, everyone knows you kind of peter out with age. So he's a middle-aged firecracker, and he's lapped Saviour in 5th, and Dynamite has lapped him.
Dominance, as you said before. It's even like this, that from the leader, Kid Dynamite, to P3, there is 45 seconds. Now going up to 46 seconds.
Yeah, 47 now. It's going up all the time.
It is going up all the time. It's very, very interesting to see how fast Kid Dynamite actually is. And he will definitely, if nothing happens in this race for him, an unfortunate event or anything like that, he will be able to run away a bit with the championship. As we can see that Kaiser Sose in Challenger class, if he takes the win, of course B17 is down in P8.
But he's second in Challenger chess, isn't he?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which means that B17 will stay front, but Kaiser Sose will also close that gap, while Kid Dynamite will run away with the championship.
Yeah, exactly that. Exactly that. You're right, and I mean, there's still obviously a long way to go in all seasons. We are only round. Ooh, what round are we at? I think I've actually put the wrong round in this one. It's not round 5, it's round 6. Yeah, I made a mistake with my video, so I will change the title of that, folks. I do apologise. It's not round 5. That was last week. This is now round 6 that we are here. And then next week, as of Monday evening, we are under the lights once again, because once every now and again isn't enough. We have to keep on going. We are under the lights. We are at Bahrain. We are under the lights in the desert, and we're looking forward to seeing you all there. 7 o'clock, of course, Monday evening, where we'll start with Tier 2, and then Tier 1 will follow at 8:45, and then Wednesday, of course, Tier 3 with yourself, Mr. Barnstorp, and then Tier 4 following that. And then on Friday evening, we will have these gentlemen taken back to the track in their custom livery designs, and we will see them once more. And then after that, I believe we have Jeddah, and then a week's break because of the festivities that seem to occur once a year.
Exactly, there is Christmas time, of course, so we'll have to take a week break. Many people will still race under the Christmas break, of course, improve on the remaining races, which I know I will be doing. I will practice a whole lot, do the 5 lappers to get to know the car and a little bit better. As well as practice the remaining tracks, of course.
Yeah, exactly that. I think you're right there. A lot of people do that, and that's what they tend to enjoy and tend to do while the racing is off. There is, of course, that Christmas race, which, yeah, the details yet to be decided, but I'm sure it, of course, will be streamed live on our dedicated YouTube channel. So if you're watching now, or if you haven't, don't forget to share the link. And then you need to like the video, hit the like button, big thumbs up, that'll help us massively. Share the link, tell your friends, tell your family, tell your neighbours, dog to like, to subscribe. Yeah, I'll say that again. To subscribe. Yep. I don't know what that was. Yeah, so subscribe to the channel, and give us some support, as Anton has dived into the pits. He has a free pit stop over single track, and he thinks he couldn't get past Xavier. Right, but 40 seconds now. The gap, as what's happened there with Sherwin Anders. He didn't spin, car in front, bounced off the wall and hit my front, sending you. Okay. Ooh, strange. Oh, Baby Hornet. I just noticed I was talking rubbish. And Baby Hornet has retired from the session. He was third, fourth. That's why. Chris Bailey's lost his wing. He's had a big moment. Now then, we're on the last lap of the race. Is Bailey going to keep out? Is he going to be able to stay on? He's got 9.7 seconds to Womack's for second place. This actually could get exciting, finally.
It can really get very interesting. I think B17 is going to get the position on single track if he keeps the gap.
Yeah,
and I
6
think
seconds, of course. But actually, Chris Bailey's got 6 seconds of penalties. So Womack.
So if he gets into that 6-second gap, we can see a very, very interesting finish.
Yeah, Chris is struggling a lot. You're right there, but we're coming round Raskas for the final time. It's been an absolutely dominating performance from start to finish from the current champion and the current leader of MRC-X. That is Kid Dynamite. He has taken victory once again. Absolutely flawless display. Bailey's struggling. He's got 7 seconds now is the gap. He needs to keep it. 6.9. This is going to be really tight and twisty. This is going to be hard for Chris. He's had to take an evasive action again. That'll give him a warning. But there in the background, there is Rumax. There is Soze. Oh, no, sorry, it was that. I'll reverse that. Xavier has finished now. He is a lap down. Case of Soze, the last one on on the lead lap, I'd have to say. 5.8 seconds the gap.
Goes
Chris
into
Bailey.
the 6 second
Yeah,
gap.
it
Will
does.
he keep it to the line? 5.6 seconds. He needs to have a good exit through the last corner, of course. Not having any moments. He will get P2.
He does, he just about gets it. There it is. Rumax does finish second. Chris Bailey crosses the line in third. Kesa Soze is coming through the swim pool section. The last man on the lead lap. He will take fourth spot. Xavier in fifth. Anton in sixth. East 17 finished ahead of Single Track in the end in seventh. Single Track eighth. Confetti Craig in ninth. DNFs this evening: Baby Hornet, Calvin, Konnichiwa, Connor, Dory the Explorer, Palang, Red Caramba, and Johnny Bravo. There was a little bit of action through that. There was a little bit of anticipation. Something's going to happen there, and that was quite an interesting one.
It was very, very interesting. It was very interesting to see the strategy choices of this 50% race, of course. It was very interesting to see, of course, the speed of different drivers. We saw Kid Dynamite today with a very dominating performance. And we also saw, of course, Rumax in the latter stages having a very, very good pace to close that 6 second gap to Chris Bailey. Very, very well driven from all the drivers.
Yeah, definitely that. I'll have to echo your sentiments there. Of course, we've got the final thing we need to do this evening is vote on our driver of the day and our livery of the day. Driver first. Rumax from 12th won a fantastic race. Had a lot of battles with E17 in early that stage just to finish second.
Very, very true.
I would like to go with Rumax, but Dynamite, I'm going to have to go with Rumax. I don't always just choose the guy who... it's difficult. Dynamite was just lapping all the way up to 4th and just absolutely... That is the perfect drive that he's given tonight. But I like the drivers who are battling through. That's who I normally look at and see who has had the best race, and I'm going to have to go Rumax personally.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I want to say Kid Dynamite because he had such a dominating race, but I'll give it to Rumax for gaining 10 positions.
Yeah, I will second that one. And then your livery of the day?
Did you say you like Barbers?
I did like Ryan's, yeah. I'm torn between Single Track and Saviour, I must admit. I love the colour choices. I love the purples in there, the blues, those. I love those.
Okay. I am torn between Calvin and Red Caramba. I will say Calvin. Okay,
so I'm going to have to choose one, and you're going to choose one, so we're going to have two winners of that one. You're going Calvin. Like, drum roll please. I'm trying to think of who is just... I think because of the reference to the car that raced once, I think it was, I'm just leaning towards Single Track with that one, and that is literally a 50.5% to a 49.5%. That's how torn I am between the two, between him and Saviour. So liveries is going to be Calvin and Single Track this evening. But yeah, dominated performance. Well done to Kid Dynamite. Well done to Rumax and Chris Bailey and all the drivers who managed to finish and also race this evening. The main thank you has to be to the viewers, of course, but last but not least, how can we ever forget yourself? Finally, we're in the commentary box, and what a pleasure it's been. It's been brilliant.
It's been really nice. I've enjoyed this time with you.
It certainly has. There'll be many more to come across this season and the next in the future. Of course, so yeah, looking forward to that. Thank you so much for joining me, my friend. Really enjoyed that. That's been fantastic. And thank you everybody for watching. Of course, we'll be back on Monday in Bahrain once more under the lights. So don't miss that. Of course, don't forget to share the video, hit the like button, hit subscribe and share with your friends, your neighbours, the guy down the street and the guys you're passing as you go to the coffee shops or the bars. We will see you on Monday, folks. Enjoy your weekend. Thank you again, Toby.
Thank you very much.
And good night, one and all. Good evening and good night.